And welcome back. My final guest is Rockland County Clerk Paul Piperato. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thanks for having me here today. And always welcome to be able to talk to the residents of Clarkstown and the County of Rockland.
So delighted to have you on the program. You really are a dynamic and energetic county clerk.
Thank you.
And you've been there for, I guess, 13 or 14 years now. I mean, it's a long period of time, hard to believe. It's been that long. It seems like just yesterday that you were, the deputy clerk and kind of moved your way up.
It's easy, George.
Yeah.
When you love your job and you love working with people and dealing with people and being accessible to the residents and being able to help them, that gives me a lot of joy.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it shows that you're. I see you out and about, as the viewers may not know, but just kind of like the circuit, with different events, and we try and get out and support the different not-for-profits and community organizations, and you're a regular on that circuit, whether you were running for election or not running for election. I know that I'm going to bump into you at most of those events. It's
it's important that each resident knows their elected official, and I think not everybody can make a town board meeting or come to a legislative meeting, but if they see us out, they can ask us a question. And I can't tell you how many times I've been in ShopRite, wheeling my cart around, and my wife will say, Paul, what took you so long at ShopRite? I said, well, I had to talk to 10 people before I got to the checkout line. But that's okay. I don't mind it, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's the same. I can't tell you how many people that'll will ask me about a pothole or whatever it might be, wherever it might be. My funny story, very quickly before we jump into some of the material here. My wife and I were out last summer for our anniversary, and went to a nice restaurant and on the river, not here in the county, across the river, and
Aunt Day would be upset at that.
We shop a lot here, but across the river, and all of a sudden this gentleman comes walking over and he says, "Are you Supervisor Holman?" I'm like, "Yes," and he starts to tell me about an issue that he's having on his street with a pothole, and it turned out it was a county road, not a town road. But I was able to kind of help him. But I mean, as elected officials, we deal with that all the time.
That's the job we signed up for.
You would prefer not to have him come over and interrupt your anniversary dinner, but the supermarket is kind of typical. So
and most people are considerate, and they know if you're in a family moment, they'll kind of scale back. Oh, can I call you on Monday? Yeah, call me.
Yeah, but I welcome that, and I welcome the interaction, because it's. A lot of people, it's exactly what you said. They're not going to be as apt to go to to go to this event or that event. But if they see you out in public, they recognize you, they'll feel a lot more comfortable.
Sure.
And I always try to make sure that I'm welcoming and inviting to people with that. But that being said, let's enough about me. Let's talk about you.
All right.
So let's kind of just jump into a little bit, maybe give our viewers a little flavor of your background, how long you've lived here, how you kind of got involved with being involved in government.
I'm a native of Rockland County. My father was born in Haverstraw. I was born in Haverstraw. All three of my girls were born in Haverstraw. My wife, she was an upstate girl. We settled there, stayed there, and my wife's a school teacher. And before getting into the government part, I did a lot of different businesses myself, and then I became very involved in government, and here I am today, the county clerk. I did serve as deputy county clerk for 16 years prior to being elected. I served under Ed Gorman, and unfortunately he passed away at the end of his term, and I was elected into the office. So I was very familiar with the job when I did take over, and I knew pretty much the county layout, and so it was very easy to adapt. But it is a little different going from a deputy to the person, because now you're the one that has to ultimately make the decision. And so in the beginning, I was a little hesitant, but you quickly adapt to it. And I got great people that work in the office, and each one of them are helpful to every individual that comes into that office, and I'm proud of that because I go all over this county and I get nothing but compliments from my staff, and that means a lot.
Right.
To do that. So.
I know, well, before we kind of move on, there's a couple of initiatives that you're currently working on or have just completed we'll get to in a moment, but just give an overview of what exactly does the county clerk's office do?
Well, it's not a, it's basically the administrator of records for the county of Rockland. We also serve as clerk to the Supreme and County Court. It's a state constitutional office. We run every 4 years, so it's mandated by the state constitution. We basically administer and control all the land transactions that take place in Rockland County. Buy and sell houses, subdivisions are filed in our county. So all these documents are recorded or filed in our office to be there for safekeeping. So we have taken our office from the quilt pen to electronic filing. And we are probably at this point now about 90% paperless. And it's been my goal to get to that point so that, one, the documents are preserved. On our website, our documents, our deeds and mortgages go all the way back to 1798.
Wow.
So that's accessible by the public at no charge. Okay, unless you want to get a copy. Okay, but it's available. I pride ourselves on being accessible. Everything in my office is public record by state law, except for a few things, matrimonials and so forth. But basically, it's all public record, available to the public, and I have made it my mission to make it available 24/7 by the website, and also. We've always had our extended hours. We're open 7 in the morning till 6 at night. Since we are such a big commuter county, I say that Al Simmons would disagree with me, but we do have a lot of people that do commute to Westchester and Jersey and New York City. So they can't get here during normal hours, 9 to 5. So we have staff that comes in at 7 and they're there until 6 and are there for the public. And we have a lot of people that take advantage of that. Avail that service.
And one other thing I do want to just reference before we get to some of these initiatives that you're working on. I had the pleasure of serving for almost 5 years as the executive director at Rockland Independent Living, now Bridges, which is the preeminent agency that works on advocacy for people with disabilities. And you really stepped it up in terms of getting your office accessible for people with physical disabilities and such as people with eyesight issues and people with mobility issues, and creating some accessible workstations over there. And I want to thank you for that, because not every clerk's office is as accessible as your office, not just in terms of the hours and the service, but you actually understood and were willing to put a few dollars behind it to make sure that the place was accessible with a location for someone in a wheelchair for access and for some programs for folks that have vision issues as well. So you really should be commended for that, because that's real leadership there.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about you have a couple of initiatives that are just completed and a couple that are underway. So I know you want to give us an update on your Favor and your Save program, and then the Community Document Management Program.
Okay. Our Favor program is Find and Assist Veterans of Record of Rockland. It was a program started over 8 years ago. It was started here in Rockland. We went out to the businesses all around Rockland County. We have well over 600 businesses signed up for that. And anybody that filed their DD-214, their discharge papers from the military, they file in our office free of charge. They would get an ID card showing that they filed their papers, and also they were a veteran. And they can take that card anywhere to these participating places and get various discounts and so forth. It has been expanded. It's statewide now. A lot of the counties that adopted the program, And we also enabled all the businesses have agreed to honor cards from different counties. So it's not just Rockland now that you can show that card. You can go out throughout the state. And we're very proud that we started it here, and it's been adopted by some counties in New Jersey and Maryland and so forth in Pennsylvania. So we're happy that the program took off, and it's another way to thank our veterans, and that's the main thing. We need to thank our veterans for their service, for what they've done for us. And on the same token, we have our SAVED program. Excuse me. That program is for our first responders. The SAVE program. It's a 3-year renewal. Okay, and again, we went out to the businesses, and same principle. We can give discounts to our first responders, and that program's been very well received also. And we're proud that we started it here, and so many people have participated in it over the years. And we just updated the program, updated the businesses, and now we're going to make another push to expand the program in Rockland County to reach out to more businesses and make sure our veterans know about it.
Right.
We spend a lot of time communicating that we have these services, and in your position, there's so many services out there that the town offers and that the county offers that they don't know about.
Right.
So we spend a lot of our time just getting that information out there, communicating to the public. Look at these services that are available to you.
Right.
You mentioned not-for-profits. We're rich in not-for-profits in Rockland. And there's a lot of services that can help people. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't know what's out there for them.
Right.
And I pride myself, I'd like to say I pride myself, and even though it has nothing to do with my job, in particular, pride myself in trying to let the public know that these services are available. County Clerk's office become, in my mind, a central part of government. A lot of people come to our office for multiple things. Probably 70% of the time might not have nothing to do with my office, but we're there. We can direct them to a town, to a village, to a non-for-profit that can help. And I instill that in my staff to do that, and I'm proud that we're able to do that.
Right, and that pretty much happens. It's funny. That happens because you put a focus on it, and I know your office is great at that. And it's amazing because it's an easy thing to do, but not everybody does it.
No. And I know you do a lot here in Clarkstown with the same thing. Making sure people know the services, and and always moving ahead to take care of our young people with the new transit. I know you have a study you put together. That's great.
Yeah.
We need to have our young people stay in Rockland, and in order to do that, we need to create these centers that are commuter friendly or millennium friendly,
Right.
so they'll stay here. We don't want them to leave.
No, absolutely.
We know it's expensive living here, and we're doing everything we can to keep the cost down. Some things are out of our control, but if we can help just a little bit, I think the county will be a better place. It's a good place now, but we just want to make it better.
Right, absolutely. So we're just about out of time, but I know the Countywide Document Management Program. Maybe you could just
I'll
touch on
touch
that
real quick on it. Okay, as I said before, we're about 90% paperless. Over the last few years, I've been trying to push for a county-wide program that each department will use it so they could become paperless. All right? It's not a grandiose idea, okay? But what it does, it saves taxpayers money. Because one, I had a staff of 42 people. Now I have a staff of 30 people. So through attrition, I've been able to scale back. All right? Why? Because it's more accessible on the computer. You can get documents quicker. And with this, each department, 40 departments in the county of Rockland, will be able to get access to their documents a lot quicker and save a lot of man hours looking for stuff. Okay? And there's a lot of monies out there that once we get this program up and running, we'll be able to make this available to towns and villages around the county. And there's kind of two of my counterparts upstate New York have done it. It works, it's successful, and they have found, and through an initial investment, in the long run, you're saving thousands and thousands of dollars in man hours looking for documents that could be accessed in a minute or two.
Oh, that's great.
So.
I look forward to that kind of moving forward. So we're pretty much out of time, but Paul, I want to thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for your friendship too. I kind of alluded to it earlier on, but as we're out and about at different events, invariably we'll sit at tables or so I spent a lot of time with you. Some years and some parts of some years, probably more time with you than I spent with my family.
That's true.
Particularly during the banquet seasons when a lot of these community events are taking place. But I want to thank you for your leadership and 30 years. Between your current 14 years now into your 14th year as the clerk and 16 years as the deputy clerk. 30 years is a long time and a lot of commitment. So you should be commended for that. I want to thank you for your leadership and your service.
Yeah. I enjoy the job and hope to continue to do the job as long as the voters will let me. And I commend you for your leadership. You're doing a lot here in Clarkstown, and you're moving things ahead. And listen, that's what we're here for. On the local level, there's no party.
Right. No,
okay.
Absolutely.
We're just neighbors that are trying to help neighbors.
Absolutely.
And that's the philosophy that I deal with.
Absolutely.
So,
Well,
right.
again, thank you so much. And please stay tuned. We'll be right back.